Today, our very special guest from Cavod Theatre is Richard Weaver. He's the director of their new show, Matilda Jr. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning. Wake up, everyone.
Doing? Yeah.
I'm doing pretty good today.
Great
How are you?
to see you. I'm doing great. Anybody you want to say hi to this
I want
morning?
to say hi to Dan Lenning and my wife, Catherine.
Wonderful. So Cavod Theatre, you guys have been around for quite a long time, doing a lot with Cavod. 2 locations, New Holland, Mannheim. You said you're teaching at Mannheim. How are things going at the new location?
It's good. Yeah, it's a very clean and very new location, so everyone's really excited about it. But I see a lot of good talent just growing in that area. It's a completely separate area from New Holland, grabbing some new kids from different locations.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the location. I think when I saw you guys were going to go in there, I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about Cavod Theatre. You guys are doing camp. It's going to end in a performance. You started this Monday. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. The camp itself is a 9 to 3. So you get up early in the morning and then you work, and then you pass out afterwards. It's going really well. The kids are doing a great job. And the show, I'm super excited. We have some really, really talented kids this year.
Matilda Jr., tell us a little bit about that. What's the synopsis of it?
Yeah, so this is a little bit different from the movie version, if you've seen that. In that this takes place in a British context. So we have a lot of British humor, which is really fun for the kids to be working on accents and things of that nature.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really beautiful story about a young protagonist girl who is not in a great situation with her parents and with her teachers, showing a little bit of the darkness of this world that we live in. But she has herself, she's always searching for truth and things that are fair and treating people correctly. And she's also just finding solace in other people that are dealing with abuse and things of that nature. And it's a really beautiful story about how you fight through those really tough parts of your life.
So I'm curious, how do you get the kids to do British accents?
You try really, really hard. Maybe you give them an example, but...
Can you give us an example?
Oh, no.
Come on.
Yeah, let me see. What can I say? Good morning to you. I really hope you're having a beautiful day.
That was perfect.
Beautiful.
Yes,
so you do that, and then you get them to try to copy that?
Yeah. And luckily, they're using the script, so that way we can work through it. If there's specific words, instead of hair, you're saying air. And there's different things to the accent itself.
So pulling off the accent is one thing. How do you pull off doing a show in 2 weeks of camp? I mean, basically, you're starting with nothing on day 1 this past Monday, and by next weekend, you're doing a show.
Yeah, the kids basically work nonstop, whether it's doing fun games or learning music, learning choreography. So we have a really, really big production team. So I just shout out to them. They're a huge help. We have the choreographer, Grace May. We have a bunch of our production team is just really, really strong. And the kids are really excited. That's the big part, is the kids are passionate about this, and you can tell it.
And these are kids who love theater, who love performing, who love singing, which is awesome. Now, you do other things besides getting ready for the show. You're doing devotions, you're playing games, you're doing some other stuff. Tell us about that.
Yes, yeah. So one really cool thing about Cavod is we like to focus a lot on the gospel and on Jesus and his light in the world. And we'll talk about the theme of light and darkness more, but we get to focus in the morning. We have our counselors that meet with each kid in separate groups, and we go through our theme, and we just are able to focus and sit down and talk about God and how the kids can impact each other and the people outside of Cavod itself.
Yeah, I love how you use the gospel to infuse the art, and how then the kids can use their art and their talents to share that in a real way. Yeah. I love that. So Cavod doing Matilda Jr., it's happening at the Cavod Theatre in New Holland. And tell us the dates and where we can get tickets.
Yes, you can get tickets at cavod.org, and the dates are the 27th and the 28th of this month.
Wonderful. We're going to talk more with Rick coming up about Matilda Jr., Cavod Theatre. Check it out, cavod.org. Click on events. You'll see Matilda the Musical Jr. You'll see all the information you need for all the tickets coming up. Our friend Richard Weaver with us. He's the director of Matilda Jr. with Cavod Theatre. Good morning again, Rick.
Good morning.
So great to have you here. Now, I understand that you and your wife perform together in some shows.
Yes, we do.
And how many shows have you ever done at the same time, all together?
Oh, no.
Different shows?
Yeah, probably 4 shows at the same time, at the most.
Crazy.
At the most.
That's crazy. What fun. Now you're having a lot of fun. This past Monday, you kicked off camp with Matilda Jr. and Cavod Theatre. Tell us about Cavod Theatre and what you do as far as camp goes and then the performance.
Yeah, so at Cavod Theatre, our motto is create with purpose. So we're not just creating a show for ourselves, but for others and for the glory of God. So we really take our time with camp to make sure to make it a priority to take time in the morning to just come to God and worship Him and give glory to Him. So we spend about 30 minutes each day to either worship or to sit down and have a discussion with the kids, because I find it really important that these kids are able to have that seed planted in their heart, so that way later in life, when they're ready to accept Jesus into their heart, they can go out and they can shine that light to others.
That's awesome. And the theme that you're talking about with the kids, people might be surprised to find out that Matilda Jr. has that theme. Share a little bit about the theme of Matilda and what you're trying to communicate.
Yeah, so as always, when I'm looking at the show, I'm trying to relate it back to the gospel and to the Bible. So looking at it, there's a lot of darkness in the show. There's a lot of things that people struggle with whether it's a verbal abuse, physical abuse, people of authority just taking advantage of you, and that's all darkness. But there are moments in the show where the light can shine through. So I went through and found a bunch of passages about light. I mean, I am the light of the world. Whoever comes to me will not sit in darkness, but will have the light of life. All of these things to let the kids know that they not just God is the light, but they have the light of God in them, so that they can spread it to the world to glorify God. And I think that's just so important that they know that, and recognize their value to God.
I love that you're investing in the next generation, and that's very important to you as well. Tell us about that.
Very much so, yeah. So my wife and I had a conversation about having kids and how the future can be scary about what comes next, but I really find that it's so important for us to sit down and think about who is going to be taking over once we're old and gray, right?
Yeah.
And that's the next generation. So if you're really invested in this whole God thing, then you're wanting to put that into these kids' minds, so that way they can...
next generation.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. Is there a scene or a song from Matilda that really talks about that or really exposes that?
So Matilda doesn't always make the best choices. There's a song called Naughty where she will either dye her father's hair gray or glue his hat to his head, things like that. So she doesn't always make the best decisions, but you'll find in the show specifically there is a scene where she's able to show God's grace and kind of forgive those who might not necessarily deserve it, as we all do. So I think that moment specifically, I'm hoping that will impact the audience the most, and you're able to see the moment of grace, see the moment of God's light in that moment,
and probably see it in your life in times that you've had as well. I'm amazed that in 2 weeks' time, you put together a show, you have a camp, you're doing devotions, lunch, playing games, you're doing everything in 2 weeks, and it all culminates next weekend in the performances that are happening at your New Holland campus. Tell us about that.
Yes, so we will open on the 27th. We've been working hard all week this week, and then we'll continue to do so next week. But the kids are working hard. We'll get the show up and running. We'll probably start incorporating costumes and props. We already have all of our sets done. So the kids are really excited. If you're wanting to come out and see it, please do. It's going to be a really great production. These kids are really passionate, really talented, and they're doing it for the glory of God.
Matilda Jr. at Cavod Theatre in New Holland. It's happening July 27th and 28th. You could get tickets online, cavod.org. You could click on events there. You could see all the information. It's amazing what you guys put together. I love that you're doing this. Thank you so much for being with us today, Rick. And
thank you for
sharing that.
Of course.
How many kids do you have involved
we
in
have
the show?
Almost 50 kids.
Oh, wow.
In the entire production.
And then how about your support group?
My production team probably goes as wide as about 15 people.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So 65 people involved in this. It's a great opportunity for you to see the gospel in the form of theater and also see what these kids have done in 2 weeks' time. Matilda Jr., Cavod Theatre, New Holland, July 27, 28. Check it out, cavod.org. Rick, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Back to the music we go. This is Leanna Crawford's I Know a Place on WJTL.